Welcome to the Matching Ideas with Resources networking podcast sponsored by GLM Financial, an accounting firm in Schaumburg focusing on providing professional accounting and business services to small and medium-sized companies throughout the Chicagoland area. I'm Tom Ghosh, business strategist with GLM. Welcome, everybody. Right now, we've got Kathy Yama. She is with TAG, which is a tenant advisory group. She's actually been working with at least one of our clients and probably going to be working with a couple more on their commercial leases, commercial sales of their properties and things like that. So I just wanted to let everybody learn a little bit more about what Kathy does. Hi, Kathy. How you doing?
Good morning, Tom. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Very good. So I gave you a little bit of an introduction, but it probably didn't even nearly give you any idea of what it is that you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do for your clients?
So thank you again. My name is Kathy Yama with Tenant Advisory Group. I am a commercial real estate broker, and I help small businesses, any businesses that have employees anywhere from 20 to 200 employees and revenue up to about $100 million with their office, warehouse, retail, leasing needs. I help businesses that are growing and need more space, they're downsizing and need less space, or they want to stay where they're at, and I can renegotiate their leases in place. And then I'm a connector. Tenant Advisory Group has a very large network, and we really like to bring people together. So if there's someone in my network that you'd like to meet, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to give you an introduction.
And what type of people are you talking about? Like attorneys and inspectors and just about
anybody
anything?
Who's in the professional industry, small businesses. If a small business needs an equity partner, we have equity partners. If someone needs a medical partner, we have a contingent of medical clients. If you need a real estate lawyer, we have real estate lawyers. So, we pretty much have a vast industry of connections. So it just depends on what you need.
So matching ideas with resources in a way, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yes.
So you mentioned kind of three different things that you do for commercial real estate. How do you handle somebody that wants to stay in their place and then their lease is coming up? How early do you want to talk with them? What is it that you do? And if you're up for it, how do you get paid on that?
So I like to get in front of my clients or the business owner at least a year before their lease expires, because it's good to see where they're at, whether they want to stay. If they're expanding, is there room to expand? If there isn't room to expand, then we need to outside of their current environment and find them a new space. The leasing from start to finish is about 9 to 12 month process, depending on the size of the company. And you really, for leverage, for negotiation with the landlord, it's easier to get in front of the client ahead of time. So then we can have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and it gives me more information to know what's out in the market to go back to their current landlord to negotiate a better deal for them moving forward.
Okay, very cool. So that's the leasing side of things. I know you're working with one of our clients on trying to sell. They're selling their land and their building, and somehow incorporated is the business as well. How does that work? What's the process of getting to that point?
So I am not a business broker, so I am a real estate broker. So I had listed the property, and there just so happens to be a business still in operation, and so I was marketing it for both a redevelopment corner if anybody wanted to come in, but surprisingly people still wanted to run this particular business, and we just got under contract with someone who's going to keep the business running. So I have business brokers that I refer to as well. So when I need to get some business advice, I turn to them. But it was just marketing the land, and the buyer determines what they want to use the land for.
Sure. What are some of the ways that you market the commercial real estate for sale?
So for commercial real estate, there's a program called CoStar that is the equivalent to the MLS for residential, and it's also LoopNet. I'm sure you go on LoopNet and you can just look up properties, but anybody can go to LoopNet and look up properties, but it limits it if you're not don't have the subscription to it.
Okay.
So it gets listed on there. That gets viewed by everyone. We market it on our website. We market it on Facebook if we can, and LinkedIn. And then we send everything out to our contacts every 2 weeks so that they see that this property is still listed. And if they have any clients who are interested in looking at it. So just really quick, I get paid from the landlord. So my clients don't pay me. It's just like in a residential, the seller has a broker, landlords also have brokers, and it's the landlord who ends up paying my fee. So I can negotiate the best deal for my client because my client's not paying, and I get paid based on square footage. So.
Obviously it's business owners, it's people that are looking to move. What is something that somebody might say that would make me automatically think of you and your business?
Couple things. I am growing so fast. I am so involved in the operation side of the business. My leases come and due. I don't even know where to start.
Okay.
You're a numbers person. If you see that they're, on their financial statements that their rent is the most expensive number on that,
right?
You may want to ask a question going, hey, your rent and operating expenses are pretty high. And they may say, yeah, my landlord charges X. And so that's another thing, because you can say, hey, I know Kathy, she can help you reduce those depending on where the lease expiration is.
Excellent. Well, you just gave me the answer to my next question, is how do I introduce you? One of the hardest parts of, in my opinion, networking is that you're sitting there with either your client or even just somebody you're talking with, and they say one of those things and you don't do anything. You don't think of anything except maybe run to you and say, oh, you got to talk to this person. They're thinking about moving. And then you call them and I never said that. So saying something like you just said, you need to talk to Kathy. She can at least take a look at your lease and see how you might be able to either save or move or do something else.
Exactly. And what I'm doing now in this current state of the economy.
You're jumping ahead of all of my awesome questions.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Ask the question and then I'll answer.
So what are you doing differently in the state of all that's going on right now, which if anybody's watching this, post COVID-19, this is when the interview is taking place. What are you doing differently, or what are you doing right now?
So if a client has closed their business, or they're a retail business that are closed and they can't pay the rent, I'm going back and having conversations with the landlord to try to get them some rent relief, rent abatement. There are different things that we can do depending on where their lease is. There's one client I have who I'm trying to get them out of the lease. So I talked to the broker for the landlord and said, what would it take to terminate the lease? And he's talking to management about it. So there are things that we can do. They don't have to pay now. It may be tacked on till the end of the term, and the landlord will get their money at the back end. But there's different ways, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone who just to have a conversation, to hear what your situation is and see if there's something that I can do to help you.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. And,
no problem. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay safe.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Matching Ideas with Resources podcast, sponsored by GLM Financial. I'm Tom Ghosh, business strategist with GLM, steering direction, matching ideas with resources.